Hello guys and welcome back to Comment. It's time for probably the last part in this tutorial series about how to create Snake in 3D. So we're going to set up the whole scene. For that you need to create a new scene, and we are just going to do add everything in this scene. We're going to combine every script and that's it. So the last thing we need to script is actually creating a new public spawn object. And we're going to add here that you will spawn the food. So that's everything. It's not that hard. Now we're going to do the actual setting up everything. So you're going to create a new folder called prefab, and you can do that by right clicking and creating and then folder and just name it towards prefabs. And here we're going to save all the prefabs we are going to create. One of them is body part, which you probably already got from one of the tutorial series. So here we're going to create our camera controller. It's going to be with a new empty, and probably you already did this, but we're just going to do it again. We're just going to call this camera, and we're going to add the camera movement to it. At least that was what we called it, right? Third person camera, I'm very sorry. And we are going to create here a new empty called pivot. We're going to do with that, we're going to work with that a little bit later on. Then we are going to add another, or we're actually going to use the standard camera, and we're going to put it here. And here you need to assign a camera. Then we are also going to add a new empty called snake. And that's going to be for this where we're going to put the snake and everything. So just put here snake movement. You have one. The body part is already from 1 because we're going to have already the head. So we're just going to add here the actual head. And just put it here so you know that that is the head. And also you're going to, you're going to go to here and you are going to assign the body prefab, you're going to make that body part. Then you're also going to add here the body part head already, and we're going to do some other things in a minute here. First we're going towards here and we're going to add the snake head. So we're going to assign a movement and the food, and we're going to add the food, we're going to add it here, so the spawn object. Right? We're going to get the body prefab, and we are going to make it a little bit smaller. We're going to call it food, and you're going to create a new material for it. So just go to your materials folder, just create a new material and call it food. Also create direct a new material and call it snake, because we need that in a second. So we're going to go towards this. We're going to add here the food, and we're going to make it yellow. There's not a very good reason for it, but just make sure that it is going to be something that's on other color than the actual body parts. So now you're going to get this one and put it in your prefabs folder, and we are going to assign it on the spawn object. Here from the spawn object we're going to create the size a little bit bigger to, for example, 20 by 20. And don't scale this one up because we want to have it on one layer. Maybe that just depends on where we're going to add the platform and everything, but that's something we have to test within a minute. Now we're going to create the actual UE camera. So for that we're just going to say that the green mask is not going to be UE, and we're going to create a new camera, and we're going to call it UE camera, and the only thing that is calling is the UE. Then here we have only depth only, so only when it will render over this one, and all the other things where it's nothing inside the camera, if it doesn't see anything, it won't render it. So we're also going to make the depth a little bit higher than this value here. Then you're going to add here a canvas, and you're going to change that towards that this is going to be screen space camera. I'm going to assign a UE camera to it, and this is going to be scale with screen size. Then you're going to create a new text and call it current score. And you want to move it up to the right corner. The left corner, it really doesn't matter. Just make sure that this is going to be white, and the outline is going to be black, and the alpha is going to be fully turned up. Also make sure that you put those two on, this one and this one. It's just a little bit, just looking a little bit nicer. Then also you're going to create the dead screen. So that's going to be a new empty, and we're just going to call it dead screen. You are going to add a panel, and you are going to say that that's the background. From here you're going to make it red, and you make it a little bit invisible, or the alpha not fully turned up, to make sure that people will still see it. So the background, what's happening, and so on. And also you are going to have this on stretch. And then also you're going to create a new text, and that's going to be beneath the panel. So you're going to create here a text, and you're going to call it the you are dead text. Just going to copy this, you're just going to paste right here, and just going to put some spaces in between them, and you're just going to put it right here. Then you are going to make this white, because that looks better, and you're going to center this also. Then you're also going to add a button, and that is right here, and you're going to call it the retry button. Then you are going to make sure that people understand that this is retry, so you're going towards this text, and you just put here retry, retry. So here you are going to make this well, you just keep it for black, but you can also make it white, or we're going to keep it white, but black is probably better, but just play around with it. Then there's one last thing you need to have, and that's your high score, because everyone wants to know what's their high score after they died. So we're just going to copy this one, because we already got the right values here, and just going to make it a little bit lower, and score. Then you're going to again towards the snake movement, and you can put the current score, that's this one, and just put it here. You can add the dead screen, you can add it right here. The score text, you can add it right here. And also you can say that you are alive when you start this game. Then you're going to turn off the dead screen, because you don't need it at the start of a game. And also you're going to set the main camera the or from the camera here, you're going to set the target towards the snake body part head, because that's the one we're going to move around. Well, we've got here food, and apply it and just delete it because we don't need it. Then you are also going to change the body part. The default material needs to be snake. And here's, by the way, my select material. I'm sorry, I did outside the screen. And you're going to make this green. Just because it's a color of a snake, but also very important that it is a color that's different from the yellow color that's on all the other positions, or from the food. Now you're also going to create a world itself. So you create a new empty. By the way, you're going to zero this out, and you are going to zero this out, and you're going to call it world. Then you're going to add, you're going to watch to your standard assets, and you can import them from assets, import package, and then you can go to prototyping. From that, you get the floor, the biggest one, and you're just going to put it on the world, and that's it. Then you're also going to add some walls. So you're going towards the wall, and because we really don't care about graphics currently, and because if you are smart, you're going to create your own world and make it a little bit different than other people. But we're just going to scale this up a little bit, because we don't really care about graphics currently. It's just a test subject. Well, it is somewhere around 10 or 11, I think, or 10.5 maybe. Let's just 11, just to make sure that people will really make sure that they will see the whole wall and not see only half of the wall. So then you're going to copy it, and you keep Control down, and you just move it to the other side. Then you select both of them, you duplicate them, you go towards the center, and you again with Control down, you just rotate them 90 degrees. Then you're going towards your camera again, and you're going to size up the where the objects can span. So we're going to make this 60 by 60, oh, by 0 by 60. And as you can see, you don't add the actual outside of the object, because that's annoying, because if you place an object exactly here, people are going to hate it because they cannot reach it. You can make it like very close, like something like this, but not close, because otherwise the object can be inside the wall and then people cannot get it. So that's to make sure. You also moved a little bit up, because we want to have it a little bit above the actual ground, and then you just hit play and see what the errors are going to be. Let's hope there are none and everything work as it should work. Also, it's going to be a little bit laggy currently because I'm recording and it got two Unity editors open and things like that. As you can see, there is a problem, and the problem is that you are zoomed in way too much. So we're going to change this. We're going to set this on. We're going to zero this out. And then because that's where if you are like very close to it, this is going to be zeroed out. It's going to be at exact the same position as this one. And this is going to be a 1, by the way. So we're going to change with the pivot, we're going to change the location of it to make sure that it's on the right position. So just going to move it up a little bit. And well, let's just test it now. And you can always change it to a little bit better. So this looks like it's working, but we still need a few variables to change. The begin size is going to be 5. And let's see, is there anything else? I think this is everything. And as you can see, there are now objects, and let me just, if I can find food somewhere. There isn't, so we need to change that. But you always can speed it up, by the way. We just keep it very low so it won't get laggy, because I got a lot of programs open. But here you see that there are 2 audio listeners in the scene, and that's because we already turned on. We just added here a new camera. There's also an audio listener here, because we don't need it because we already got one. So here is going to be like how it is currently, and we see there the food. And as you can see, the food is too small. You cannot see it. So what we need to do is make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit smaller, so it suits the game. That's again something you need to test on your own. We're just going to assign it for this game, but maybe you're going to zoom up very much in your game, then you can make it smaller than if you don't zoom it up. We're just going to make it for now only half the size of the snake. Also, and everything should work right now, so if you just go towards that food and we just touch it, and as you can see, it's very slow, so we need to you need to increase the speed. Then there's nothing happening. Right, because we also need to change the layer of food. We need to change the layer to food. So we are going to change it here, prefabs. And now you're also going towards this one. Oh, and we also need to change the tag towards food. So just add one and just add a new tag. So we're going to retry it again. By the way, this is always like the end of a project. It's also a little bit more chaotic, because you just need to check if everything is working as it should be. So you can see that it isn't working again. So we need to go towards the body head. And we need to add the spawn object before we forgot that. Oh yeah, before I forgot, we also need to make sure that it's on the ground. So we need to make this at -0.5. So let's just try it again and just see if they will hit each other now. So if we just move up, we really need to make this a little bit faster. So there is a little bit of a problem. Let me just fix it and I will come back to you guys. Hello guys and welcome back, and there were some stupid things. So the very first thing was we forgot to put all those layers to the UE, and that fixes that you can now see your current score. The second thing was that I forgot to add here a rigid body. The problem is you can, by the way, leave everything, but the problem is that it is hitting the object behind it, as you can see, and it will cause weird behavior. So what you need to do is you actually need to create the radius of this sphere a little bit lower, and you need to increase the distance a little bit. Also, you need to remove here the gravity, and Also, you need to add here by the material 0 friction. That's a standard asset, so there's in one of the packages. As you can see, the body part is still colliding with it. When we just pause it, just go towards it, and that causes this very problem. And that's because we put them too close to each other. So what we're going to do is actually just make the minimal distance longer and longer and longer. So and as you can see, it's now fine. So you can even increase it more or less, whatever. Also, the retry button, this was by the way deliberately, the retry button here needs to have a new call, and we put that call I think in the snake, yeah, where it is standing start level. We're just going to call that, and it will just put everything back like it was before. That's the wrong one. And by the way, very sorry it's a little bit messier than normally. It's always the last episode where you need to fix everything. Snake movement. And here you need to have start level. So now you have this. And then there is one last problem. So we made sure that everything was that you couldn't hit it, but as you can see here, it's hitting the floor prototype, and it thinks, oh, it is hitting it, so we need to make sure that you die. So how to make sure that it doesn't happen is by clicking on this one, and for example, just ignore raycast and just put the head to layer player, go towards your project settings and physics, and go towards player, and ignore raycast, so that is here and here. Just turn it off, and now it won't hit each other, so it won't see it as a problem. We still need to change a few things, and I will come back that in a minute. And the last thing you need to change is actually very simple. You need to move this one, the center of the spawn object, you need to move that a little bit down in what we had before, to make sure that it isn't above the player, so it will push it downwards. The perfect value is this value, so it won't go up and down, it's just exactly at the ground. And now you will see it will work, and again, currently it's very laggy, and it's also causing a lot of weird glitches sometimes, because I got a lot of system currently. As you can see, now it's above. As I said, the .2 was the perfect value, because it wasn't pushing it any way up or down, but as you can see, now it is sometimes pushing it up, and that's for the very simple reason that my computer is, because it's I got a very old computer, and I got a lot of programs running, and I'm recording this is sometimes a little bit laggy. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, you change this to .2. By the way, don't do it during runtime because it won't save, but that's how you need to fix it, and I missed one. Then we come to the last thing, and I'm going to talk about it in a whole video about user experience, but it means that you need to change the actual food collider and make the radius a little bit bigger. So if you just, because I was just in the end you was thinking I was hitting it, but I wasn't. But players will just see that as something wrong. This, by the way, another glitch that's causing because I'm using too many things together. But that's the problem. So this is kind of the whole tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another tutorial series. Bye.